Okay, we're going to get into our cash budget. So if we looked back at our master budget, we are into the cash budget. So we're getting really close. This is probably the last budget that I'll teach you besides the selling and administrative budget, which we just did. We're not going to do a budgeted income statement or a balance sheet. So we just need to know where our cash is coming from, where our cash is going. Let me make sure I take out all of those numbers, like a slight preview before I take them all out. So our Garden Depot is a retailer that is preparing a budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Management prepared the following summary of its budgeted cash flows. So all of the budgets that we've made, we'll take the cash disbursements and put it into this cash budget. For this class, we don't do all of them, but we have majority of them done. But I'll just tell you the cash receipts and the cash disbursements. So we have all this information. The company's beginning balance for the upcoming fiscal year will be $20,000. So the beginning cash balance is $20,000. And then remember, our ending cash balance for this specific quarter will become our beginning cash balance. So if I refer down to the ending, you see the arrow for our cash budget, the ending will always become the beginning. So the ending 36,000 became the beginning, and then the 33,900 became the beginning. So that's what I'll do in my formula. So this ending will become the beginning. Same thing over here. So right now when I put in all the information, I can know that the ending will become the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to fill out all of these cash receipts and cash disbursements. So I'll pause this video and fill that out. Okay, so I filled in all of my cash receipts in my format and my schedule, and then the total cash disbursements. The company requires a minimum balance, cash balance of 10,000. So remember, this has to be 10,000. So if we're not there, when we have our excess deficiency of cash available, then we will go borrow from the bank, and we have to borrow minimum cash balance of 10,000 and may borrow as needed from a local bank at a quarterly interest of 3%. The company may borrow any amount at the beginning of any quarter and may repay its loans or any part of its loans at the end of the quarter. Interest payments are due on any principal at the time it is repaid. For simplicity, assume the interest is not compounded. So we're not using compounding interest, 3% quarterly rate. And if we take it out at the beginning of the quarter, we'll pay it back at the end of the quarter. And so remember, these are budgeted. So we know how much we're going to have at the beginning of the quarter. So for quarter one, we are going to need to finance. So we're going to assume that we're financing at the very beginning of quarter one, and then we're going to repay at the very end of quarter two. So 2 quarters of the interest are going to be incurred, but not compounding interest, just for simplicity purposes. Okay, so I put in these numbers, and this will be filled in a little bit. So I'm going to add my beginning cash balance to my receipts for what I've collected, and those are from my schedules, like my cash collections from my sales budget. And so then I have total available, and I'm going to subtract total cash available minus my total cash disbursements. And you can see over here, my cash disbursements are a lot larger than what I had at the beginning and my cash receipts, right? So I am at an excess deficiency of cash available, and I'll probably just put this even further down, this one minus this one. So this is not an excess, this is a deficiency of cash available over disbursements. This can be quizzed, this can be tested on your exam. So I'll ask you, what's the excess or deficiency of cash available over disbursements? And we don't have enough that we can see. So we are going to need to finance, and we're going to finance at least $10,000. But remember our minimum cash requirement balance, right? So the minimum cash balance of 10,000. So I have this deficiency that I need to make up of 60,000, but I want to have an additional 10,000 on hand at the end of that quarter. So I'm not only going to finance up to 60,000, so I have 0 in my bank, right, on hand. I'm going to actually finance 70,000, so I have that minimum balance. So I'm going to go finance $70,000, not $70,000 from the bank. Borrowings at the beginning of the quarter. And then this isn't at the end of the year, that was in the sample budget, this is at the end of the quarter. Okay, and so there's no interest because I'm just taking it out right now. So the total financing would be 70,000. I can sum up what's happening here. And my ending cash balance, if I add this one and my excess deficiency, I do have 10,000. And this ending balance, if I drew an arrow all the way up there, I don't know if I can draw a super fancy arrow, but I will just show you that will become my beginning. So the ending will become my beginning balance. Okay, so for the next time around, I will add again the beginning, add my cash receipts all the way through. And then I'll subtract my total cash disbursements, cash available minus cash disbursements. And now I have quite an excess of cash available over disbursements. And so I will go repay that loan because I have enough cash to still maintain $10,000 of cash, ending cash balance. So I want to repay 70,000 or maybe repay that 70,000. So my cash is going to go down. Remember, I've taken it out at the very beginning of quarter one. I'm going to pay it back at the very end of quarter two. So 2 quarters of interest are being incurred, or I'm liable for 2 quarters. So I'm going to multiply that by 2. The interest rate for 1 quarter is 3% based on the problem. So that's where I'm going to get 4,200 of interest. And I'm going to pay that. So my cash is going to go down. I'm going to make that a negative number. So remember from the problem, 3% quarterly interest. You borrow any amount at the beginning of the quarter or pay its loans or any part of its loans at the end of the quarter. And ideally you want to pay off loans as soon as possible because you have the money. Why would you want to keep it outstanding if you don't need it? So we'll just repay it at the end of quarter 2 because we have all this excess cash available over disbursements. So the total financing would be these 2 repayments of interest and the principal. And now with my excess cash and what I repaid, I'm going to have 35,800. That will be my ending balance. And so I was just adding what I paid back in interest and principal to my excess cash, excess of cash available over disbursements. So then again, the ending becomes the beginning. I would add receipts, subtract disbursements, subtract my disbursements, and I do have enough cash to maintain my 10,000 minimum balance. So I can just have this as my ending cash with 0 financing here. So I don't need to borrow anything, and I can just have total financing would be 0. So I would have 0 financing, and I can continue on with the 25,800. And finally, 25,800, add receipts, gives you total available minus your cash disbursements. So take those out. Do we have enough excess cash or deficiency? 15,800. And that will 0. We don't need any more financing because we have at least 10,000. And so that will be your ending balance here. There is an assumption for cash balances or cash budgets, excuse me. Cash budget. So the ending cash balance will be your ending over here. So I will use that as my ending, this 15,800, and just copy and paste that value, or just refer to that, maybe just refer to that cell. And then I can sum up all of the beginning balances. Let's see if we need to have a beginning balance. Beginning balance, we take the beginning balance from quarter 1. So let's take the beginning balance from quarter 1. So that arrow, 20,000 beginning balance, add our cash receipts equals cash available, subtract our cash disbursements, and then we had our interest. So we financed the 70,000, and then we got rid of the 70,000, we repaid the 70,000, and we had that 4,200 of interest. And so the ending balance would be 15,800. And when you sum these up, you just don't want to double count your 4,200 of interest. So I know the problem, the solution says to have this total financing, but we already accounted for it here. So we don't want to account for it twice. So you would do your excess and add your total financing, and that would give you your 15,800. So that's a solution for this problem. This is your cash budget, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.